No nonsense, let's get straight to the point. To understand the plot of this time, you first need to be able to understand the simple map below. That's right, this time the map is alive. At different time nodes, the map is constantly changing. That's why many players have the illusion of entering nowhere. And because the plot uses two lines of subconsciousness and reality to describe, it makes it even harder for people to see the truth behind the hidden. The plot of this time. All the answers can be found in the game. There are no unresolved issues or plot holes. Next, Xiaofeng will take everyone to explore the truth together. At the beginning of the plot, in Inars we met Nano, who was being scolded by an NPC. She is granddaughter of Nook, who is the captain of the exploration team. She is not willing to be idle even for a moment. But in fact, there is an even more important reason. Today is the day of the super new moon. What is the super new moon? Since the moon orbits the Earth in an elliptical path, this creates a point where the moon is closest to the Earth. And a super new moon is at the same time as the moon's closest point to Earth, coinciding with a new moon. This phenomenon is also known as a supermoon. As Tower of Fantasy is set in a world where Earth has been colonized. So here it directly references the concept. In Nano's simulacrum voice mentions it. On the day of the new moon, they feel like something is piercing through her brain and drilling out. Here, it actually refers to her memories. But to restore her memories, she needs to go to a certain place. This place is the destination of this plot, where the meteorite fell. Listening to the NPC scolding, many people may hold grudges against them. Nano is still a child. Their words are a bit too sharp. But there is a reason for this. Nano explores with Pip. Disappeared for 2 days and 1 night. Only Nano came back. Clearly lost his best friend. But she acted like nothing happened. And it was even recorded in the archives. A child saw Nano playing ball with a tentacled monster. All of this was enough to give people chills and keep their distance. You agree, don't you, Naruto? It's precisely because Nano has the prestige of his grandfather that she was able to repeatedly gain the acceptance of others. But in the end, Nano still managed to escape. After Nano escaped, the protagonist Toolman come. I happen to have some free time now, so I'll go and find that child. We took the initiative to undertake the responsibility. This was after the underwater battle. Abyss Ant was rampant outside. Only we with exceptional combat power could overcome this heavy responsibility. Soon, we found a journal outside of Inars. However, before we could act, it was snatched away by an octopus thingy. It was mentioned in the design concept of Simulacrum. Nano and Pip have a significant influence in the soft-bodied biological community. The little octopus will be semi-coerced into helping with tasks. They are commonly known as unpaid laborfish. Following the octopus thingy, we can quickly find Nano. Here comes a complaint. Why did the octopus thingy that I caught yield octopus meat instead? Nano is talking Pip about super new moon. Tonight is the night of the super new moon. If we miss this one, I don't know when it will be next time. We don't know how long we have to wait. According to the theory on Earth, the supermoon occurs once every 19 years. It's still a very special day, as you can see. Nano noticed the protagonist chasing after them. She fled quickly with Pip. But it doesn't matter. She forgot to take the log that the octopus thingy had delivered. The plot logic is very clear this time. There are basically no flaws to be found. But the next part is a huge foreshadowing. This log is a note left by Nano's grandfather, Nook. Sure, let's segment it and interpret it. The first paragraph talks about the treasure of the desert ruins. Since Abaid got it, his mental state has been deteriorating. Finally, he rushed towards the rock wall and fell to his death. This indicates that the treasure has the ability to affect a person's mental state. Moreover, it is a negative buff. The second record is about Nook, who is the captain of the exploration team that Abaid belongs to. As Abaid has no family or friends, he inherited the treasure of the desert. The treasure causing harm to one person is not enough, even drag another person down. It can only be said that fate. In the third record, Nook also began to experience headaches and discomfort, as expected. But he didn't take it seriously. He just felt that he was getting old and his physical condition was deteriorating. The fourth record is very exciting. Dreams and following the revelation. The dream reveals, on a certain new moon night in the future, a part of a huge entity's body. It will mimic a meteorite and descend to retrieve it. This suddenly has Cthulhu style. Here we briefly introduce Cthulhu. Cthulhu is a mythological system. It can also be referred to as a monster. The usual description of it is a giant with an octopus head, human body, and bat wings. It is one of the old ones. It is also known as the Lord of Laya. It often appears in various literary works. Its appearance has also undergone many changes. Their ability is to communicate with the outside world through telepathy. And they can use this telepathy to induce nightmares in people. It can also create a compulsion to think or strongly suggest certain thoughts. These symptoms are very consistent with Nook's behavior. The effects are not necessarily all bad either. It can also teach others spells through telepathic transmission, or knowledge that is incomprehensible to ordinary people. For example, in the plot, why Nook drew a summoning circle. It was taught by Cthulhu in a dream. Or it could be said that he followed the inspiration of Cthulhu. About the existence of Cthulhu. In plain terms, it can be understood as a higher dimensional being. Its existence is in a space higher than our three-dimensional space. Therefore, we cannot fully comprehend its existence. We may not even be aware of its existence. One famous example would be the star spawn. It is indeed very difficult to explain the nature of such beings, as long as we understand that they are incredibly powerful beings. For those who are interested in Cthulhu, they can search for related information. I won't go into detail here. Due to the scenes that appear in dreams, it gave Nook a strong sense of crisis. He thinks that the meteor impact will destroy Inars. But others are unlikely to believe such a thing. Then he made the second stupid decision of his life. What was the first stupid decision? Inheriting the relic of Abaid. Keep the treasure away from Inars. Why was he considered stupid? Nook's original intention was good, but never expected. Just because of this decision, he has been working hard for Cthulhu for nearly 9 years. He even almost harmed his own granddaughter. Why did this happen? Because only treasures can't summon Cthulhu. It is also necessary to draw the summoning circle. If Nook kept the treasure by his side. He drew the summoning circle again in his dream. People around him may discover it. But he buried the treasure in a remote place on purpose. Even if he worked hard for nearly 9 years without any gain, no one can discover the existence of the summoning circle. This may be a case of being too smart for one's own good. At the end of the notebook, Nook left the coordinates of the relic. From this moment on, the plot diverges into two storylines. One is the protagonist's timeline. The other is Nano's timeline. Let's take a look at Nano's timeline first. At this point, Nano and Pip have already arrived inside the cave. Pay attention to the shadow ahead. A giant octopus is floating by. It is one of Pip's forms. Pip has many different forms of existence. The first one is the combined state with Nano. This state appears at the end of the plot. The second one is the tentacle form during battle. I believe that those who have drawn the weapon Mini Hurricane are not unfamiliar with it. The third one is having an independent individual. The octopus form that plays tennis with Nano. Following Pip to a deep pit. Note that there are small octopuses in the pit at this time. This will be tested later. When we continue forward. There was a spatial fluctuation. Then the camera cut to a distant scene. Remember the brain coral here. Very important. Behind this cave is the meteorite crater. In fact, the entrance is very close to it. You can go straight there after coming in. But why did we wander around in the plot for so long? This is the essence of the plot. As the space shakes, Nano entered the subconscious. You could also say she fell into his memories. Pay attention to what she's saying. In an instant, I felt like my body seems to be lighter. My body became lighter. This sentence is very important. In the following, both the protagonist and Nano will describe their bodies. To prove whether it is in reality or subconsciousness. Becoming lighter is because it is in the subconscious. Without the burden of the body. At this time, we turn back. We will find that the original pit no longer has the little octopus. This indicates that when Nano first came to explore, there are no octopuses here. Then where did the octopus come from? Let's continue to explore down below. Do you remember the brain coral? This opening is the same one that was opened at the beginning. It's just in Nano's memory. The opening is sealed with wooden boards. The one who did this is not someone else. It was Nano's grandfather, Nook. After burying the treasure. To prevent anyone from accidentally entering here, he deliberately sealed it with wooden boards. It's time for our simple map to come in handy. Our current location is here. Then there is a blocked door ahead. You can see the scene inside through the cracks in the wooden boards. But it's impossible to pass through. Nano chose to take a detour. Then she met Pip. Pip's original name is Pythias. So the name here is 4 squares. If you pass Pip at this time, you can discover a path behind it. A secret passage that only Nano can pass through. There is a reason why Nano's height is set to 1.34 meters. Because only she can pass through it. It can be considered as a map Easter egg left by the production team. If you exit the plot here, you will appear at Nano's memory map. You can discover the secret of the map by following the hole out. Did you see it? All the intersections are open at this time. There are a total of 4 intersections here. They respectively lead to the secret room and the meteorite crater. The Nook's death place land and the robot room. All the plot revolves around the back. The opening and closing of the 3 intersections are carried out. The reason why this plot is difficult to understand and confusing. In addition to the setting of the intersection, there is also the design of the scene. The production team may have built more than one model for a single scene. This creates a different scene every time you go. And then you become confused. Okay, let's continue with the plot. Go back and find Pip. Pythias tried her best to dissuade Nano from doing so. But impulsive Nano doesn't listen to advice. This is also introduced in the Simulacrum archive. Nano's weakness is that she is easily impulsive. This has also been a constant worry for Pip. And she has made up his mind to protect her well. Nano mentioned that Nook's diary predicted the fall of a meteorite. This is also recorded in the Simulacrum archive. December 20th, 2710 AD. Unidentified object resembling a meteorite fell into the water. The meteorite caused nearby marine creatures to become agitated, crazily attacking the patrol robots, resulting in only blurry footage being recorded in the end. There are records in the notes. This meteorite may be a living organism. Someone saw a black, gooey thing wriggling. This is also the same as the dream Nook had. The massive body part took the form of a meteorite and fell, just to retrieve the treasure. The feeling of coherence between the context before and after is very comfortable. Nano wants to be the first explorer to discover it. It's really somewhat ironic. Initially, the person whom Nook most wanted not to be exposed to the unknown was Nano. But she was the first one to come running over. If you keep going forward, you will reach a 3-way intersection. Note that the other road next to it is closed at this time. Behind the rock is where Nook died. But Nano didn't know about it. She went forward along the other road. Soon she encountered the robot left by Nook. Pay attention to the name label of the robot. It appears to be subconscious. This also proves that the current scene is all in Nano's memory. The robot is the warning left by Nook for the later comers. This will be recorded in the notes later on. What's surprising is Pip recognized that the robot is from Nook's team. Nano, is this robot from your grandfather's previous team? With this information we can approximately calculate Nano's age. The robot was put in after marking with old Vera coin. Pip recognizing the robot indicates that he has started to remember things. According to scientific research, humans can start to remember things as early as 3 to 3.5 years old. There may be people who will argue about it. Some people can remember things as early as 1 year old. Let's take a look at the introduction of the Simulacrum archive again. This is an essay written by Pythias. She was doing sports with her group when she knows Nano. And it's playing tennis. If 1-year-old Nano and Pip can both play tennis, that can indeed hold true. After the robot is placed here, Nook put a total of 101 Vera coins. Once a month, which is 8 years and 5 months. Afterwards, a meteorite impact event occurred. Pip and Nano came to explore. In other words, Pip would be 3 years old if he first saw the robot. So he was 11.5 years old when he went on the adventure. Nano and Pip are the same age again. Also 11.5 years old. And now it is already the year 2712 AD. So Nano's age needs to be added by 2 more years. That is to say, 13.5 years old. This is the minimum age that Nano can set. The robot's message is directed towards us. It showed what is called the true Cthulhu. Don't look with your eyes. Don't listen with your ears. Don't be aware, don't understand the existence ahead. Cthulhu is indescribable horror. It's like describing how dangerous a place is. We would use expressions like crossing a sea of blades and a mountain of flames or risking one's life 9 times to describe it. But Cthulhu is like... that cannot be described in words. This may be the charm of the Cthulhu mythos. Keep going ahead. Deep inside the cave, Pip is being surrounded by tentacles. But be sure to pay attention to what Nano said. Hurry up if you don't go quickly. Nano is walking in front of Pip. So when Pip is surrounded by tentacles, Nano has already entered the meteorite crater. The phenomenon here is not something that can be seen in memories. If you return the same way now, then pass through Nano's exclusive secret passage, and you can come to the meteorite crater. Then go out along the cave entrance. Then you can capture the scenery that 100% of people have never seen before. This is the scene that Nano saw at that time. As Nano's consciousness begins to awaken, the plot of the memory ends here. Now let's go back to another timeline. After the protagonist obtains Nook's notebook, rush to the location recorded in the notebook at high speed. Then they encountered 3 gray octopuses. Pay attention to the task introduction on the right. It shows that they are frenzied gray octopuses. This is also introduced in the Simulacrum archive. The appearance of the meteorite made the underwater creatures become frenzied. Become more aggressive. There are many questions about the plot this time. Corresponding answers can be found elsewhere. This is also why I think the plot is great this time. Finally, the plot holes are not left unresolved. After dealing with the gray octopus, Pip's tentacles appeared behind. This is Pip guiding us in. It also indicates that Pip has a physical form. We followed and entered the cave. Then we discovered the unconscious Nano. Coincidentally, we met her as she woke up. Pay attention to what the protagonist said. Oh. I was lured by an octopus monster and found you passed out here. We were led here by the octopus monster. Pip's octopus form has been confirmed. Facing the confused Nano, the protagonist said that her underwater oxygen device was damaged. Afterwards, the underwater oxygen device became an important plot scapegoat. It has to be said that TOF did a great job on the details. The underwater oxygen device is really producing oxygen. You can see a lot of small bubbles coming out of the neck. After talking with Nano, it was learned that she forgot what happened again. Nano has great potential to be a fish. Even 7 seconds of memory is too much. Later, the protagonist couldn't resist Nano's cute and spoiled attack. He could only reluctantly agree to accompany her on the adventure. Please, today's adventure is very, very important. Do you still remember the brain coral here? In this scenario, there are a total of 3 sets of modeling. The first set is how Nano looked when she first came in. There are no stones or wooden boards at the entrance of the cave. It's completely open. This was knocked open 2 years ago when escaping with Pip. The second modeling is how Nano looked in her memories. The entrance of the cave was sealed with wooden boards by Nano's grandfather Nook, to prevent outsiders from entering by mistake. The third modeling is what we are seeing now. Blocked it with stones, guiding us to other areas. Who is responsible for doing all of this? That's right, it's Pip. In fact, Pip is deliberately guiding us throughout the entire simulacrum story, by making us follow the path of memories, discovering the remaining clues, helping Nano to retrieve her lost memories, and also let us understand the whole story of that event. But this stone looks very familiar. It looks very similar to the one that blocked the hole when we left last time. What's going on again? You can see the scene inside through the cracks in the stone. The production team really put in a lot of effort this time, although they kept blocking the passage with stones. But they also kept leaving gaps at the same time. Let the players know that there is space behind. If leaving 1 or 2 gaps is still due to negligence. If every stone has a gap, then it must have been intentional. Take out our simple map. Follow the road on the left to the end. Both intersections are blocked at this time. Nano summons Pip. Helped us to open the leftmost road. From here, you can see that Pip's body is between reality and illusion. It can help us open the way from behind the stone. Following Nano, we arrived at the place of the robot. It's been 2 years since we last met, and the robot has already been scrapped. Nano looked at the scene in front of him and became confused. The protagonist asked, but got an answer that he had no impression of. This is where you can see the protagonist's intelligence and insight. The meaning of no impression is that it has been seen before, but can't remember it now. This also aroused the protagonist's suspicion. Nano mentioned that day inadvertently again. This made the protagonist realize that things are not simple. So he took the initiative to check the robot. The protagonist must have worked as a repairman before losing his memory. He can repair the colored lights and the generator. Robots can also be repaired. It was discovered that the robot was brutally pierced by a sharp object. But there is only a written description here. There is no way to see the robot's wound. It's hard to determine exactly how it was damaged. Only Nook's name was left in the robot's disc. The protagonist then asked Nano for confirmation, and returned Nook's notebook. At this point, the protagonist's inner Sherlock Holmes mode was activated again. Nano also thoughtfully showed us the follow-up content of the notebook. If you want to see it, you can take a look. But you have to give it back to me after you finish reading it. The record shows that Nook felt much more clear-headed. And it was on the night of the new moon. The state of mind is not uncommon in film and television works. In simple terms, it means that he started to believe in the evil god. The whole person began to sublimate. Nook is about to start his career as a soul worker. At this moment, he is worried that someone might have mistakenly entered this place. So he arranged for robots to guard this place. It's the one we were repairing. From this moment on, Nook started to have a recurring dream. The key recorded in the log that serves as proof of reality. It reminds me of a movie. Inception. Dreams can be created and manipulated. When a person is immersed for too long, they will become unable to distinguish between dreams and reality. So, there needs to be a key to distinguish between reality and dreams. In the dream space, the protagonist's key is a spinning top. The key chosen by Old Nook is more direct. It's the old Vera coin. This also benefits us. Every time he wakes up, he puts a Villa coin on it. The place where he wakes up in his dream. Once he puts it, it's 101 times. For as long as 8 years and 5 months. After we finish reading the diary, Nano has disappeared. This is when Nano is advancing. The map we saw. And this one is what we saw while we were advancing. The difference is in Nano's voice. Team member 2, don't play pranks. That's right, everything was Pip's prank. After Nano enters the meteorite pit, she just sealed the entrance. So we can only see the way to the secret room. Pay attention to the glowing object at this intersection. It will also be tested later. We followed the path and arrived at the secret room below. This is where Nook wakes up in his dreams every time. The scene looks a lot like a ritual site. I suspect that the treasure was placed in a secret room at that time. The meteorite was summoned here. But it doesn't necessarily have to hit the treasure, would be the translation of. Moreover, the pillars above look like they were supporting something before. Here we found the numbers carved on the stone wall. Actually, everything is just the guidance of octopus thingy. The 3 clues correspond to 3 octopuses. We found Nook's Vera coin on the ground. After entering the correct password, the encrypted diary can be viewed. This diary is quite special. If you have to say it. This is not a diary, it should be called a monthly record. On every new moon night, only Nook would come to this place. So each record is for the past month. The first month, Nook just felt that it was because he couldn't rest assured. Buried treasure. Only then would he dream of this place. In the second month, he already had suspicions. Starting from the third month, he began to check the night recordings. As a result, he found out that he wasn't sleepwalking. He didn't get out of bed at night either. But he still came here at night. This is very interesting. The body was lying on the bed. But the consciousness came here. Isn't this astral projection? In the blink of an eye, it's already the record of the 6th month. It has been going on for half a year already. So Nook came up with a solution. He began to use old Vera coins to prove reality. So the 101 Vera coins are not a specific amount of time. Plus the 6 months without markings. That is 8 years and 11 months. This is Nook's true work experience. 7th record. Nook started practicing this method. As a result, the Vila old coins really disappeared after waking up. It can be seen that although Nook's soul goes out of his body at night, he can still move physical objects together with him. So he is preparing to buy a new waterproof notebook. The fact proved that he was cheated by a dishonest merchant. This broken notebook is not waterproof at all. Don't believe it? Take a look at its current appearance. That's right. Later we found out that the water-damaged notebook was the one. Nook's carefully prepared waterproof notebook. In the days that followed, every time Nook dreamed, he came here. He would always write something in that waterproof notebook. But he would forget everything once he woke up from the dream. He would remember again once he entered the dream. It's like sealing the memories here. Doesn't it look a lot like Nano? 8th record. He saw the old Vera coin. At the same time, I also found that the logbook was missing. That's because he moved the logbook in his dream. In the other passage, that's where we found the place where Nook's soul died. The 9th time, the 10th time, the 11th time, the 12th time. As he kept coming here, Nook's mental state is already very abnormal. He started seeing a psychologist. But the doctor said it was his own hallucination. However, Nook does not think so. Because he has been accumulating more and more Vera coins. Reached the 19th record. Nook records himself dreaming about only saving coins and writing journals. He also collects materials and puts them next to the buried treasure. At this point, he is already preparing the summoning circle for use. Old Nook only knows that meteorites will fall. But he didn't realize that the meteorites needed to be. Only the summoning circle he personally drew can be summoned. The career of working is still continuing. The 37th time, which means 3 years have passed. Nook's mental state has already deteriorated significantly. It wasn't until the 43rd time that he began to realize. What am I drawing on the ground? Actually, he's drawing a summoning circle. By the 76th time, I've been working for 6 years without any pay. The body's functions are deteriorating rapidly. But even after the soul leaves the body, it is still an excellent tool. Record 98th time. Mentioned granddaughter Nano. Advise her to be cautious when encountering the unknown. Unfortunately, Nano didn't listen. I don't remember the number of times later. But according to the number of Vera coins, at least 8 years and 11 months. Until Nook's death. They couldn't get rid of the identity of a working person. The last entry in the diary is a message written for us. Since it can be seen by others, it means that this is not a dream but reality. Let's leave quickly. In fact, we are very safe now. Although the plot has been creating a scary atmosphere. But it's all just Pip's prank. Why did this happen? Do you still remember the dream recorded by Nook? The massive entity will detach its limbs. Mimicking a meteorite, it lands here. And retrieve the treasure. So, according to the timeline of the plot, the treasure has already been taken away. The reason for the Nano anomaly is triggered emotions. Recalling the things that happened in the past. And our anomaly is because Pip wants us to understand the truth of the past. Pip herself already has some of Cthulhu's abilities. But she has no malice towards us. So some people are worried that after the protagonist leaves, she will also become a working person. The answer is no, the protagonist won't. Because the treasure is already gone. After we finish the plot here, this kind of thing won't happen again. It's all just Pip's prank. Why would we make such a guess? Because our exploration route has always been arranged by Pip. It guided us to discover the inscriptions on the stone. And it led us to discover where Nook died. Since all of these were arranged by her. So the scenery we saw was naturally what she wanted us to see. After watching the log, sure enough, the projection of the past appeared. The situation of the protagonist here is very special. He was influenced by his subconscious while in a sober state. In simpler terms, it means he had hallucinations. And it comes in waves. Why isn't everything we see just our subconscious? Because our bodies really did move to the entrance in the end. We see Nook carving numbers onto the stone wall. There are two sets of scene modeling here. One set doesn't have the numbers carved on it. The other set has the numbers carved on it. Following the guidance of the illusion, we escaped from the secret room. It's quite surprising that Nook sleeps with his clothes neatly on. It seems that out-of-body experience also has a one-click change outfit function. He has to wear the work uniform to work. Pay attention to the scene here. Do you remember the glowing object? At this point, it is blocked behind the stone. The entrance to the meteorite crater on the left is also blocked. Our route has been arranged by Pip again. We can only enter the passage to Nook Leaves log. Listen to the protagonist's voice at this point. Did I come from here? Have I lost my way? The protagonist has already realized that there is a problem. But there is only this one path here. Proceed along the passage. Soon, they found Nook, who had fainted. This should be Nook's final record. Take a look at this waterproof log. Doesn't the merchant have a conscience? When you find out the source of the log, you will be able to understand the content of the log well. The first entry was written by Nook after he brought in the log. Discovered that there were only bare coins. He brought in another item. It was this logbook. Moreover, he can write in his dreams. So he began to record. To prove whether everything that happened here is real or a dream. The second chapter is about self-doubt. The world we live in is built on the basis of science. This out-of-body experience is a shock to Nook. There's no way to explain it scientifically. He can only classify it as a supernatural phenomenon. But at the same time, he also tries to provide an answer. That is the unknown power of the unexplored universe. The third part writes about summoning rituals, sacrifices, and magic circles. These are all necessary for summoning Cthulhu. This corresponds to the records in the encrypted log. Prepare the items and draw something on the ground. It can be seen that Nook has realized that he is drawing a summoning magic circle. However, it is not useful. After waking up from the dream, everything is forgotten. The last record left was his last time working. The consciousness begins to blur. Hope that no one will follow in his footsteps. Then he passed away. The soul died here. But the body still lies in Inars. Still a working class until death. The arrangement made by the octopus next to him is very interesting. It's here to collect the logs. This part of the plot is over. It just disappeared with the logs. It's hard not to suspect that this was arranged by Pip. After reading the logs, found out that Nano is just ahead of us. Pay attention to the map at this time. Finally, all the three-way intersections have been opened. But at the same time, the intersection behind us has been closed again. The map at this time looks like this. Listen carefully to Nano's voice. Nano, how come you disappeared all of a sudden? Don't tell me you're trying to ditch me? No way, it was you who disappeared. I found out you were gone and came back to look for you. That's right, she did notice that we were gone. She came back specifically to look for us. So, in this part of the story, not a single line is wrong. And they all contain hidden messages. When you can't understand the plot, you'll feel confused for no reason. Now you know what's going on. Only then can you appreciate the cleverness of the plot arrangement. Follow Nano back to the previous path. You will find that the intersection with the glowing object has been opened. However, the passage next to where Nook died has been closed. At this point, let's not rush to go to the meteorite crater. Instead, let's come to the secret room. You will find that the inscriptions on it have disappeared. What were the inscriptions that we saw before, after all? I suspect that there was an error in calling the model here. The model that doesn't inscribe can only be used in one place. It is the scene before Nook inscribed the inscriptions. Any events that happen after this. The inscriptions on the stone must be there. I hope it can be fixed as soon as possible. Next, let's go back to the meteorite crater to find Nano. Nano criticized us for having weak stamina. Breathing so heavily? Clearly, you are adults. How can your stamina be worse than Nano's? Actually, it's because we were affected too much by the mental impact. We have been constantly alternating between illusion and reality. Thanks to the protagonist being an executor. If it were a normal person, they would have gone crazy. Nano went to dig out the ball in the middle. And we began to observe the surroundings. The plot here is excellent. Let's check 3 places. I believe many people still have a confused look after finishing it. Check? What did you check? Isn't it just running to 3 locations and then it's over? These 3 places are the essence of the entire plot. Let's go to the first location first. Did you see it? It's all octopus there. It's a pity that we can't get into this cave. We can only see that the space inside is not very large. Why are there so many octopus? Let's move on to the second location. There are many octopus surrounding this area. You will experience an illusion when you get closer. It's Pip and a big octopus. Unfortunately, it only lasts for 0.8 seconds. In order to see more information clearly, you need to abandon the mission first, and then accept it again. This way you can watch it repeatedly. You can see Pythias standing at the top of the pillar. And there is an octopus floating ahead. It looks like some kind of ceremony is being held. However, Nano was not found in this plot. Did she really strategically retreat at that time? Or did she fall to the ground with serious injuries after the battle with Cthulhu? Regardless of which result, Pip was the last one to stay here. So what exactly are these octopuses? If Pip turned into an octopus now, it's normal to have some working fish here. What about the past? Back then, Pip wasn't an octopus yet. Why are there so many octopuses here? It seems that the production team doesn't intend to make it clear. They appear in every key plot. What exactly are these octopuses? In the world of Cthulhu, octopuses are absolutely indispensable. A reasonable guess would be, these octopuses are the incarnations of Cthulhu. After the meteorite impact, the surrounding marine life became violent. But these octopuses did not. In Nano's memory, there was the existence of octopuses. They looked more like they came out of the meteorite crater. According to our previous exploration, the cave is also full of octopuses. This is also an image of what happened in the past. Only some remnants are left here now. The real body has already left with the treasure. Only the one that fused with Pip stayed behind. This reminds me of another game. Black Desert Online. In the world of Black Desert, there is a kind of black elf. After the other black elves fused with humans, they were all inducing the hosts to fall. Only the little black one that fused with the protagonist gave power. Although it was once mischievous. But after being beaten, it became much more obedient. It's very likely that Pip also fused with Cthulhu. Gained power. It can be learned from the conversation with Nano in the simulacrum. She believes that the captain's duty is to command the team and fight. After Pip and Nano encountering Cthulhu, Nano bravely rushed up, protecting the non-combatant Pip. But the few couldn't withstand the many. She was heavily injured and fell into a coma after being beaten. Pip, on the other hand, coincidentally encountered one of the Cthulhu monsters and merged together and gained power. After merging, she repelled the other Cthulhu monsters and left with seriously injured Nano together. Soon we arrived at the third clue location. With the appearance of the illusion, it also showed us what it used to look like in the past. This is the same state as in Nano's memory. It was sealed with wooden boards by Nook. Do you still remember the state of Nano when she first arrived, which we showed at the beginning? It's completely open here. At that time, Pip escaped with Nano from here. Now it's blocked by stones. It's because Pip is guiding us through the route of Nano's memories. 3 locations have been explored. Nano also dug up the treasure. What she's holding is when Pip joined Nano's exploration team. The commemorative tennis ball made by the two of them. This also proves that they have been here 2 years ago. Pay attention to Nano's change of expression at this moment. This is considered a well-done plot performance. Nano's expression is very sad. It's heartbreaking to see such sadness. At this point, she has already remembered everything. Afterwards, her heart began to be in turmoil. We can see this from the attacks of Pip. Pip's state reflects Nano's state as well. Nano's heart is very complicated at this moment. There is a sense of guilt towards her friend and anger towards her own helplessness. It was her own willfulness that caused Pip to become what she is now. We are forced to take a beating like this. Fortunately, she still remembers that we are present. Stopped the tentacle's attack. And retracted the tentacle. What is being showcased here is Pip's combined form. The tentacle appeared out of nothingness. The following paragraph caused a lot of misunderstandings for many people. When you embark on your adventure again, rushing to seek a certain kind of truth, please don't forget to be mentally prepared for possible sacrifices. Many people believe that this was said after Pip possessed someone. But this was really said by Nano. Prepare for possible sacrifices. Only those who have lost something would say something like this. Nano lost Pip. And what Pip lost was her human identity. If it was said by Pip, don't you feel like you're bragging a bit? And if it really is Pip possessing me, the most likely thing is that we should take good care of Nano. Entrusted her to us. Just like Captain Alice. 002 disappeared. 2000, please take care of me. The one who speaks of sacrifice is always the one who is alive. Nano knows that this state is only temporary. After the new moon, everything will be forgotten. She is different from the protagonist. There are 4 people who have hallucinations in the plot. Abaid, Nook, Nano, and the protagonist. But only the protagonist is special. Because only the protagonist has not seen the treasure. Abaid and Nook have both held the treasure before. Nano also discovered the treasure at the end of the adventure. Only the protagonist had a hallucination under the influence of Pip. So you will find that they will all lose their memories here. But the protagonist won't. At the end of the conversation, Nano used his tentacles to knock us unconscious. When we woke up, we were already outside. The cave was also sealed. This rock is most likely the one from the meteorite crater. Now, if we go in with Land's fire umbrella, we will find. The stone that was blocking the meteorite crater is gone. It is from here that Nano, who has recovered her memory, brought us out. After coming out, Nano lost her memory again. At the same time, she saw us unconscious. Then there was a scene with the use of the oxygen recovery device. Pay attention to the protagonist's question at this time. Speaking of which, just now inside, Nano, are you okay? You found the treasure, right? But you look very sad. Although Nano forgot what happened inside. But the protagonist remembers everything clearly. It can be seen that the protagonist is indeed different from the others. Nano suddenly announced that we became the 3rd member of the exploration team. This is also closely related to Nano's personality. Memory loss is a big worry for anyone else. But for Nano, if you can't figure it out, don't think about it. But fortunately, she is like this. Otherwise, at such a young age, she would have to bear the psychological burden of killing her friend. It's not a good thing for her either. Return to Inars. I found out that Nano has already returned. It was only then that we learned about what happened in the past. Pip is a good friend who plays basketball with her. After the meteorite impact, they disappeared then. Adults speculated that they went to look for the meteorite. Then they disappeared for 2 days and 1 night. Inars' people are also busy looking for them. No time to care about the meteorite. As a result, only Nano came back. Lost her best friend, but acted as if nothing had happened. This is probably the impression that the general public has of Nano. Undoubtedly, the plot of this episode is currently the pinnacle of Tower of Fantasy. Whether it's the copywriting, dialogue, or scenes, all are very well crafted. Clever use of the opening and closing of the passage. Formed a plot full of mystery and intrigue. Actually, it's not just that. Tower of Fantasy has put a lot of effort into the scene design this time. Why do you unconsciously ignore the path you have walked before? Because the design of the intersection is just right. As long as you turn your perspective a bit. The original path is blocked. Every time it makes you feel like the map was always like this. Plus the design of illusion makes it even harder for you to distinguish what state you're in. It also becomes even more confusing. In fact, it's just a little trick. The plot synopsis is beyond words. The style is similar to that of Annabella's plot. Seems to have no content. Digging deeper, it's all information. Every line of dialogue may hide a secret. What's even more valuable is, all the information this time is connected. It's not just the content in the plot. There are also simulated files and simulated conversations. Simulated design concept. All the content is well integrated into the simulated plot. The answers can all be found in the plot. Watch the story of other character roles. There's always a feeling of leaving plot holes. And Nano really has all the answers. This time's plot. It seems like I have deduced a lot. In fact, it's just explaining what the plot has shown. Integrated scattered information from various places. Like Nook's journal. The content is already very clear. All that's needed is to analyze and integrate the clues. This plot also showed me the direction that Tower of Fantasy wants to take. There have always been two storylines in the plot of Tower of Fantasy. One is a cheerful and lively storyline that focuses on daily life. Like the storylines of Fenrir and Ruby. The other is a hardcore detective story with a suspenseful soul system. The typical representatives are Annabella and Nano. The main storyline combines these two styles together. However, they have never been able to blend together very well. This results in the main storyline having insufficient entertainment value. The plot will also have the phenomenon of riddles. I hope these issues can be improved in the Tower of Fantasy. From the perspective of the storyline of Nano, the production team still has some experts. There are also many creative people. The only flaw in the storyline this time is, there are relatively few models for the Cthulhu elements. At first, I thought the brain coral was a part of Cthulhu's body. But I found out that this thing is present in many places in the cave. There's no way to form an interpretation. If there were more Cthulhu-related models in this game, Cthulhu monster do not have the same appearance as octopuses. It would be even more shocking. Alright, that's it for this issue. Follow Xiaofeng. Experience the unique Tower of Fantasy with